Blanca, will you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Okay. Nora Lopez.
Here.
Yvette Cabrera.
Here.
And sorry, I'm just going off of this. Blanca Rios here. Cristy Fajardo.
Here.
Johnny Cordova.
Here.
Melissa Macaya.
Hey guys, I'm here. I won't unfortunately be able to be on the whole thing, but I'm here for part of it. Hey everyone.
Hi.
Alwyn Lopez. She already let us know that she's on assignment. Nanette Sosa. Not present. Rafael Mejia. We just got an email. He has a family emergency. Caldi Ortiz. I know I heard him earlier.
Sí.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Jennifer Marcial. Did she say she was driving?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
And sorry, the order is a little off. Luis Joel Mendez Gonzalez. Wow. How do you want me to say it? Do you want to know that whole name? Luis Joel.
Luis Joel is okay.
Okay. Arelis Hernandez.
Wepa.
Okay. McNally Torres.
Epa too.
And that's all I have on my list. And then we have to also, I think, is let the other.
You also need to call the Hugo as ex officio. I think
Okay,
he needs to actually sign.
Okay, Hugo, are you here? I think so. Hugo
I'm letting him in right now.
Oh, okay.
You need to call Jessica and.
Sorry, you know what? Yes, I'm going off of my. Jessica, perdón.
Jessica Retis.
Am I missing any other board members? And I'm sorry because I was drafting.
Julio
Cesar.
Julio Cesar.
Okay.
Here.
Blanca, I heard you and I'm here, but I can't turn on my camera.
Okay, got it.
But I'm here. Oh.
And then the guests, Alberto, BA. Should we just add that they're here, right?
I also need to be a part of the roll call, although I don't have a vote. And then the others are guests. Yeah.
So the other guests, Yun Nguyen, Yaneth, BA. Any other guests that I can't see because I'm
Leslie Ann.
Leslie Ann.
Hi, Leslie. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So the first order of business is a review of the minutes from the Wednesday meeting, and that's also Blanca.
Right. So Finn prepared them since he was secretary during the last meeting, and he emailed them to me. I just forwarded them to everybody before the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and only the people that were at the meeting would actually vote on this.
It was just to the present board.
I had a question, Blanca, and this may be to Finn, but there's a point where Geraldine talked about the reserves, and the sentence is not quite clear. It talks about NHJ having reserves for 4.4 months, which is up for 3.1 months. I think it's missing some words.
Okay. I'll have to, and I went through them. He sent them to me this morning.
Yeah, that comes from the audit, and that actually it's 4 point, whatever the number was, 6.3 from the previous year. And the auditors recommend that organizations have between 3 and 6 months of operating reserves. So I think it was probably pointed out that we continue to go in that direction.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe we can correct that. I mean, before we approve it.
Yeah, let me go back in there. I think I have that shared document ready to go. So it should say, it was in the, which section? Go back in.
I wasn't there, but all I'm saying, I'm just referencing what that line item would have been about.
Oh. So should we leave it until I double check with maybe Geraldine?
Or Finn as well. Yeah.
He may have just, it was a lot of audit information. So.
Okay, so then we're not going to be able to approve the minutes then at this point?
I don't think so. Not with that one outlying question.
Okay, well then let's table that and we'll take that up at our next board meeting. We'll review the minutes. Welcome everyone. Really excited to be here. Excited to see so many friendly faces. Everybody eager to get to work. I want to especially thank the staff, Yaneth, Leslie Ann, of course Alberto, and everyone for the, and especially the election committee. I know it was, it all felt kind of rushed and everything, but in the end, I thought we put together, you guys put together clean, everything went smoothly. So congratulations and thank you for all of your hard work that went into pulling off these elections since they happened at a time and place that we normally don't do. So congratulations for that. Do we want to jump right into order of business here? Anybody else have any introduction that they might want to say a few words? I'm happy to allow for that.
Nora, if I may interject, since we have in the chat questions, it seems that we have to approve these minutes before they are amended.
My recollection is that usually there has to be a motion to approve the minutes, somebody seconds, and then we can do the discussion for them. That's in the past how I've handled it.
Yeah, I know, but
that wasn't how we did it earlier. So if we want to put up, if somebody wants to put up a motion, go. I need somebody to do that.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Can I say something really quick? We just got this at the minutes right now at 4:03. I haven't been able to read through all of them.
We're going to discuss it and then.
Yeah, you need, somebody needs to second it and then we have the discussion.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have a motion, but I don't have a second.
I second the motion.
All right.
Okay, now we can discuss. Johnny?
No, I was just saying that we got it like at 4:03, so I haven't been able, I was trying to read line by line. I don't know if we want to discuss it as a group. It's going to take a long time, or I can keep reading as you guys keep commenting on anything that does not seem correct.
Yeah, the issue is we have a correction that may need to be made by Finn. So we can't do that right now, which is why we had tabled it. So Nora, I don't know what you want to do.
Let's call a vote and see where you guys stand on the issue of approving them or not, and then we can move forward from there.
Well, with the discussion in place, you can table the discussion.
That was my suggestion, that we table the discussion to give everybody some time and we bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And I think that's still within Robert's rules.
Yeah, I did want to add something with it while we're still in the discussion period. There's minutes of multiple meetings that happened throughout the year that haven't been approved yet. If we are gonna table this discussion to have the meetings approved at the next meeting, I think it might also be a good idea to have the meetings of all the minutes of all the other 2020 meetings as well, so that we can approve them. Approve them all in one go at our next meeting. What do you guys think?
I think that if we get ample time to review the minutes, obviously I was not in the meeting, so I don't know what happened. And to be honest with you, a lot of these minutes are very scripted. It's kind of hard to follow what happened. So we need ample time to review them and ask questions and maybe go to the person who took the minutes and for any maybe notes that they might have. to clarify any questions before we approve all these minutes.
I think we probably should get in touch maybe in a separate maybe email thread and figure out which are the minutes that Julio that are missing or that you think we need to go over, and then we can bring them all at the same time. It's probably a good thing to do. Yeah. So I think at this point, maybe somebody can make a motion.
I move to table.
A second.
All those in favor?
Can the people who move say their names, because I'm not watching and I'm not able to document well.
I'm who just says that I move to table the motion to approve the minutes and have them be discussed next time.
And McNally Torres second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I didn't hear every aye, but more ayes than noes. So the minutes will be tabled until the next meeting. So a couple of things, this is mostly kind of an introductory meeting, but there are a few things that we need to get taken care of sooner rather than later. We do have two regional vacancies, I believe Region 1 and Region 6. I believe the process in the past has been that we put out a call for folks who might want to raise their hand. They can submit their information. We can appoint a couple of committee or board members to review those, maybe dwindle it down to 1 or 2 that we then present to the board for approval. Alberto says in the past we've given folks about 7 to 10 days to raise their hand or put their name in the hat. If that process works for everyone, I'd like to hear back. If somebody has another process they'd like to put forward, I'm all open for that. We're not, again, this isn't something that we have to take a vote on. It's just let's get a consensus going. If everybody is in agreement that we seek volunteers first, people who want to raise their hand, who want to do the work, that is my preferred method. But if somebody else has another way, I'm open to that.
And just to clarify,
it's actually Region 2.
Did I say the wrong?
6.
Region 2 and Region 6. Sorry.
Well, and then if anybody has read Rafael Mejia's email, he's not able. He's Region 1 technically, and he's saying that he's got family emergency and he's not going to be able to be regional director for the rest of the term either. So
I think that's why I thought I had Region 1. So it's 3 regions that we have to replace.
Wow.
Region 1, 2, and 6.
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking to Alberto and Hugo for guidance on this. Typically, do you guys post something on our website? Do we send out an email to members? Do we tailor it to just those specific regions?
So in the past, both my term and Brandon Benavides, what we did was we sent a communication to the membership with the specifics on the open position. We decided on a period for people to send their submissions. So it would be a resume, a letter of intent, why they want to be named to that position, and then a member of the board. In the case of the board, the previous board, it would be myself, and I would vet the candidates and then present the candidates or the finalists to the board for review. We would discuss and then make a decision. So the whole period, I'd say, would take somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks, depending on when you send the communication. So we gave the members about a week, maybe a week and a half, to send their submissions, another week to review and discuss with the board, and then name them. So we definitely tried to do it before the end of the year, given just business and the fact that the board meets, I believe, one more time. at the end of the year to review the budget and approve the budget. So we wanted a full board in order to do that.
Okay. And you said you reviewed them and you whittled them down and then presented them to the board?
Yes, and there was only one time where we had, I think, 3 candidates for one position. But if, normally it was one person or 2. I mean, if you have 2 people, that doesn't take much time. And I think you only have 3 open positions. We had, I think, somewhere between 5 and 7. So, I think that it's a little bit easier to manage 3 open positions, possibly.
Okay. Is everybody comfortable with that, with me reviewing them and then putting forth some candidates to you all for a vote? I'm open to, I'm happy to get anybody else who wants to serve with me on this, but I'm also comfortable just reviewing them and putting forth a candidate for each one for you guys to vote.
I have a question. What is the actual best practice? I understand that that's the way we've been doing things forever, but what's the, do we have someone who actually knows what the best practice is for doing this kind of thing? Like, is it usually just the purview of the president? I'm willing to concede that, but is there a policy written somewhere that we can refer to, or is this something that we should probably write down somewhere and formalize it?
Alberto, can you give any guidance? I think in our discussion, you indicated that this is kind of the way that's been done since you've been here.
Yeah, it's the way that's been done, but I haven't seen a policy that dictates how it should be done. So I think
the one thing to keep in mind is the board would be naming temps, because whoever you name would need to be elected in the next conference. And then they would go through the regular vetting from the election committee, which is much more stringent than what I did in speaking to the board. So you're really talking about a couple of months. It's temporary. They would then need to, if they want to stay in that position, go through the normal vetting process with the election committee, and then the members would vote them into the position at the next conference. So, some context.
Nora, I wonder, because the way that things aren't necessarily a good reason to keep doing things the way they've always been done. That said, I wonder if Nora, you might consider, doing what is suggested, sort of reviewing these candidates, but sort of transparently writing out the criteria by which you're judging these individuals and what your process is, so that we are all appraised of that, and then that way we're setting the foundation for an actual best practices policy guidebook for the board, and then we can vote forward.
I'm perfectly comfortable with that. We can do that and we can formalize it moving forward. But yeah, I'm perfectly comfortable once I get them and go over with them. I'm also happy to form a committee to review them. That's also on the table as far as I'm concerned. So in fact, let's just go ahead and do it that way. Let's name a committee of 5 of us. Do I have any volunteers who want to be on the regional committee? All right, Arelis.
I volunteer.
All right,
too.
Let's go with the folks who raised their hands were Arelis, McNally, Keldy, and Johnny. With myself.
Blanca also raised her hand.
Oh, Blanca, sorry.
Well, I'm only raising my hand because it is my region, and I would think,
we would value your input,
Okay. One of them is my region at least. Okay.
If you need 5, I can.
Can I get a repeat of that?
If you need 5, I can give my spot to you, Blanca. I don't. If you just need 5.
Oh, okay. What can I just only because I was Arelis, it was Johnny, McNally, and
Keldy.
And Keldy. Okay.
So I will reach out to you all separately, and we'll do a little Zoom call and get this thing going ASAP so that we can get our new board members in place. And they would be running again in the 2021 election, right? Because we have staggered terms, correct? Alrighty then. I lost my agenda. If anybody has it,
Yeah,
prompt me, please.
you're supposed to discuss now the conflict interest, confidentiality, board roles, forms, I guess that we have to sign, NAHJ emails, photos for the work website, all that good stuff.
That is Alberto.
I think
Wasn't that on a call?
gone.
He was just a few seconds ago.
He was
He
here.
was having connection problems.
Okay, I'm reading the chat. Somebody very helpfully is sending us everything that Arelis that's in our bylaws.
Robert.
I do not know what happened to Alberto. We've lost him. What was the next order on the agenda?
Item number 6, administrative, conflict of interest, confidentiality, board roles. And then after that is gonna be number 7, all business, and your name is on it.
Okay, let's skip over that, and as soon as Alberto is able to rejoin us, we'll go over what he has. I believe the old business that we have just to discuss is trying to set forth the path on the bylaws. So is it Arelis who had an update on the bylaws on what happened and any recommendations on how to move forward?
Yeah, so we did not reach quorum. Initially we thought that 550 would be enough to reach quorum of the 1,600 or so eligible voters. However, even though we made it to 550 voters in terms of record turnout, 116, I believe, is the number, were students. And the way that things are structured is that we asked if these students can count towards a quorum. They could not, because if we were going to do that, then the number of eligible voters would go up to like 2,200 or something like that, Janet, in which case we would need 700. The threshold would rise to about 700. So we did not reach quorum. However, I am hoping, along with some of my colleagues on the board, to continue the work of the bylaws committee. So far, all, if not most, of the people who have signed on the committee have committed to continue with it. That's how awesome they are. And so we should be setting up a time to start meeting again to sort of look at what are our options in terms of the bylaws. And I think Robert Hernandez was sort of talking to us over some ideas of what the board can do. And part of it is we need clarification on the bylaws themselves as to quorum, as to whether the board can set the quorum rate, but we'll get back to you guys on that.
Okay. I think we might want, I appreciate that everybody who was on it wants to remain on it. But I also think we might want to open it up for any other folks who might be interested in joining.
Oh, we're happy to take more people to work.
So especially if any of the new board members might have an interest in that, then that would be, I think we need to open up that possibility. We are going to discuss a little bit of, I want to get a little bit more feedback from the board in terms of what committees you guys want to have, if we want to do any combining of some of these committees. It seems like it's up to the board every year which committees they want to have. I've been advised that maybe no more than 6 or so committees. So that's part of the discussion that I think I basically have moved on to new business, which is looking at that. So so we
Nora,
can come back to it. Yes.
Can I add something to the bylaws discussion? Robert Hernandez had brought up a point to the previous board that previous amendment approvals may have been done with just 2/3 approval, not with the quorum. So I think if we're going to look at, you know, the current amendments that were on the ballot, we should take a look back just to confirm whether that's true or not. And if they didn't reach quorum in that last election, maybe we should add those as well.
That's a really good suggestion, Yvette. Yes, we should take a look at that. I know that there was a lot of back and forth the day ahead or before the final elections, precisely about this question, whether it was there or not. So there does seem to be a lot of clarification. Alberto said he's just having problems signing on.
I'm back though.
So
Can I say something about the committees?
Yes.
I wrote a proposal about proposed committees. I can share it with the whole board to see if I have any ideas, sort of like a structure of committees that, you know, that we should have, and, you know, to get feedback from all you guys and, you know, ideas as we move forward. So if Nora doesn't have a problem, I'll be happy to share that with you guys.
I do not have a problem. I have a few suggested, but I think they're the same as the ones you and I have talked about.
And, you know, maybe it's a different name. Maybe it's, I mean, that's why we're here, to bring all our heads together and, you know, and come up with good ideas that can help the organization.
All right, thank you. Alberto, let's go ahead and do your portion while we have you.
Sure, sorry about that. And again, I wanted just to have the whole staff join in plus BA, just so that everybody can kind of put a name to a face. Most of you have responded to my email regarding the orientation, and during the orientation, I'll be providing a pretty detailed operations update on the budget, the staff structure, priorities, kind of everything we've done, including a 5-year overview that I think some of you have seen if you attended the annual meeting or the board meeting. In addition, one thing that will be coming your way, and I think all of you pretty much have signed onto your email addresses, so thank you for that. Again, the email addresses are all listed on the website, so we just want to be consistent with everybody having an NAHJ email address. And then the next thing that's coming your way are agreements. We need to have you all sign a confidentiality agreement, a conflict of interest agreement, and a code of conduct. That was adopted by the board in 2016. And so we need to make sure that everybody signs it. It's kind of per term. So even if you did it last year, everybody needs to sign it again for the next year. And those will be coming from Janet. And if you can have those submitted by the time we have the next board meeting, that would be great. That's all.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Okay, so then the next thing we needed to decide is the next board meetings. How often do we want to meet? I think we need a meeting within the next couple of weeks and hopefully by then we'll have at least, you know, discussed via email the committees that we'd want. And then we can formalize those at our next board meeting. Yes, Kelly?
Somebody had a question which I kind of wanted to figure out as well. Michelle was trying to understand what's the confidentiality agreement.
Is Alberto here? I think Alberto left us.
No, he's here.
Is he?
He's here, he's just muted.
Alberto, there was
the question is what?
Clarification on what is the confidentiality agreement?
Well, you guys are going to see it when it's mailed to you. It's a standard agreement to ensure that the confidentiality of the business at hand with NAHJ is preserved at all times. It's pretty clear. And I think once you guys review them, I think if there are other questions, we can send them to Nora or myself. This isn't something I instituted. This is what the board approved in 2016. There have been issues that have come up in the past, and maintaining confidentiality and privacy is essential. And while it's a challenge to be private and transparent, I think there's something that you guys are all committed to, and so it's a matter of working through that.
Okay.
But can you give us the gist of it, or?
I think I just did, didn't I? Isn't it pretty much that? Well, I can email it to you. But it just basically says that you agree to keep confident the nature of the NHJ business confidential.
All right.
I hear you. The members are just wanting to know what would we have keep confidential from them. So they're looking. Can you give us an example?
Personnel issues are things that are maintained confidential. A good example of last year or this year, when the negotiations were happening with the convention hotel, we couldn't publicly talk about the plan that we were already executing for a virtual convention. It would have put the negotiations in jeopardy, and therefore could have put the organization in that liable for that $1.3 in fees that we would assume because we couldn't get out of it. So there are times where you need to have those discussions that are done in executive session and that are private, that just can't be shared. Again, they're putting the organization first. You guys have a fiscal responsibility first, and that's always a challenge because you also report to the members, but sometimes those things don't go hand in hand when you want to be able to communicate that.
All right. And in general, anything that gets discussed in executive session is confidential and cannot be shared and is within the group. So this is just a affirmation that we all understand the roles. Correct, Alberto?
That's correct.
All right. Okay, wonderful. So want to get some feedback on how often the board wants to meet. I'm suggesting that we meet in a couple of weeks. I think that'll give us time to review the minutes, give us time to get a consensus on how many committees we want to cover what specific areas they're going to cover. So I'd like to call a meeting in a couple of weeks. After that, need to get a little bit of direction whether you guys want to meet quarterly or do you want to meet monthly. I think under our bylaws, we're required to meet twice, correct, Ulgo? But beyond that, if we want to meet a little more often, we can. Again, we don't have to vote on this, but I am giving you some notice that we will have another board meeting in 2 weeks. Go ahead, Julio.
Yeah, so I agree with you. We're going to need a couple of meetings that are at least a little bit more frequent than normal as we start off when we transition, and then it'll be the same next year. You went with the new regional directors, or at least some of them. But as for regular meetings of what we should expect, I think it should be monthly. Not necessarily set to a specific day of the month, but maybe we should try to aim for like the first 2 or the middle 2 or the last 2 weeks of every month to have meetings with obviously like you said, the starting off meetings being a little bit more frequent.
All right, that sounds good. I think maybe in these first 3-4 months, we probably do want to meet monthly as we, get things going, as the new board members get acclimated to the projects we're doing and the things that we want to do. I'm okay, and we can do a couple of monthly meetings for the first few months, and then we can scale back as needed. In the past, and I know things are a little, kind of on edge because of the pandemic, there has traditionally been a board retreat. Alberto and I discussed maybe doing that at the end of the year, or maybe sometime in late January, early February. So I guess I want you guys to think about that and tell me if you are interested in doing an in-person retreat, or if we think we need to do a virtual one, again, because of the pandemic and everything that's going on. So just want to get a little bit of feedback on your thoughts about retreat.
Okay.
Go ahead, Julio.
As to the retreat, I think we should aim for next year after the inauguration, because things are just going to get...
We're all going to be very busy. That's why we were thinking late January, early February.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good target.
Yeah, I agree. I would really appreciate it if it can be like way past all this election period. I'm like a one-man team covering all Central Florida. and it's going to be impossible for me to do anything like between November and December. I'm open to whatever, in person or virtual, whatever you guys decide, but next year.
Do you guys just want, so I think it sounds like everybody is on board to having a board retreat. I think we don't have to decide right now whether that will be in person or virtual. I think we just need to wait to see how things play out, both with the election and the pandemic. That will have an impact on us, whether or not we can meet in person. But I'm glad to see that there's a good response about wanting to meet as a board together and do a retreat.
If it were in person, where would it be? Would it still be Miami or?
I think traditionally, it's been a long while since I was on the board, but as I recall in the past, we used to have a meeting where the host convention was going to be, sometimes about 6 months out. Whether or not we're going to do a virtual or in-person convention is among the things that we're going to have on the agenda in 2 weeks. I think at that point it's maybe when we end up deciding. But yeah, if we're going to do a virtual, then we're not tied to having to meet in Miami. If we are going to do an in-person in Miami, then I would recommend we meet there and get the lay of the land of the hotel and where things are and how things are going.
The only challenge is that is also the peak of Miami's high season, if there is a high season of sorts. So that's also when it's most expensive. So we normally would look at where financially could make sense. But I think as you guys move forward and decide, once you decide, we'll find a place and go for it.
Guys, it's ground zero for COVID here. I'm telling you.
I don't think we want to go.
I'm not expecting that to change. Seriously. So, yeah.
That's why I was asking where it was or where it might be.
I think Alberto brings up a good point, and I think cost is something to keep in mind. So probably something to look at is something that would make sense and is cost effective for as many of us as possible. So again, we're looking at what I think everybody's agreed, maybe early February is probably the soonest that we think we would be able to do this. So we have some time to decide that.
And Nora, NAHJ pays for the travel and the lodging and the food for that retreat. So it isn't on other, it's not on people's expenses. If you guys want to change that, you can, but that's how it's been done. So we do that once a year.
My company has agreed to pay for my travel as it relates to NAHJ, so I'll probably go ahead and take them up on that. Okay, so we already discussed that we're going to be looking at the committees, and we'll decide in a couple of weeks what committees we are going to move forward with and how we're going to put out a call for volunteers to staff them. I think the only other new business, and we didn't specify, but it is new business. I'm really thrilled that we already have a little initiative going, a member benefit training that was spearheaded by Julio Cesar. This was his idea. So I'm going to let him tell you about this exciting opportunity for our members.
Yeah, so we have started with the help of the NAHJ staff, especially Yeneth. We've looked into the hostile environment training. This is the training that I got from Reuters last year. For us, it was a full 2-day training. Obviously in person, obviously we can't do that right now. A, it would be too expensive. B, it would take too long. However, the same guy that trained us, and this is the same training that Reuters requires for every reporter that goes to cover a protest, like you at Reuters, if you don't have hostile environment training, you are not sent out to cover anything that's potentially dangerous. We have set up hostile environment training that's going to cover specifically American protests in 2020. That means COVID, that means racial tensions, police tensions, anarchist groups, racist groups, how they all interact with each other, how to stay safe, So those trainings, the first one is actually going to be on October 14th. And these are all like, everyone only needs one class. It's one class, it's 1 hour, it's a webinar, so you can join from wherever you are. And the goal of this is, honestly, I mean, we're all going to be watching the debate in, 1 hour, 15 minutes, unless we're still in the meeting. But this is mostly in preparation for Election Day. I've talked to my security advisor who was with me when we got shot with rubber bullets in Minneapolis. We were together. Last time that I saw him was in Louisville, Kentucky, when we went to cover the Breonna Taylor indictment reactions. We think there's going to be chaos. We think things are going to be bad. So because not every agency has the resources to actually pay for these trainings, NHJ is going to pay for at least the first 100 spots, meaning the first 5 classes. If the demand balloons way beyond that, then we might need the NHJ members to pay for part of the classes themselves. However, it's only $25 a person, so it's not that bad. I don't want there to be a barrier for anyone who needs to stay safe. So I've actually just sent out the tweet announcing it. It has a link. People can start signing up right now. So I'd ask if you guys can please, share this link so that people can actually start signing up for the classes. The only thing we ask is the classes are limited in space. So if you join a class, please make sure that you actually attend. If you absolutely can't attend, don't join it, but encourage someone else to do so. That way we get enough demand where we can be like, okay, these are all the other classes we can offer. So this goal is to make sure that we keep our reporters safe. I mean, I was talking to Cristy earlier, and this is going to be about something that we talk about when we talk about committees, Nora, but there's been a lot there's been a lot of journalists that have been hurt in California. I mean, we saw Josie Huang most recently. In Minneapolis, we saw people get their eyes shot out. So we want to make sure that people can actually stay safe. This training provides you with the knowledge to try to stay safe, at least to start to. The very first rule, and this is something that I can say, is don't get between protesters and police. I've seen a lot of people do that. Don't do that. That's stupid. You're either going to get a brick thrown at you or you're going to get shot with a rubber bullet. For more, join the training. Pretty please share the link.
Julio, I'm a little confused. You said the NAHJ will pay the first 100 spots, meaning the first 5 classes. I was confused with what you said there.
So
sorry, wait, hold on a second, Julio, because we can pay up to the first 100 people. We are starting with scheduling 2. Those need to be filled and maximized. Okay, the first 3, and they have to be filled, so we have a waiting list to continue on. So after 100, then people would have to pay to attend the training.
So there's up to first 100 people.
Total 3 trainings, up 20 each.
Okay, got it.
And if we need to add 2 more to make up the 100 because they're valuable and people are signing, we're going to add it.
Okay.
Yeah, so please encourage people to sign up for these classes. And
you sign only for 1, or you have to sign for the 3 sessions?
It's only one session. It's only one class, period. So it's 3, like right now it's 3 sessions and they're all going to cover the same thing.
Okay.
And yes, Michelle, they do have to be NHJ members. So
as regional director, which includes Seattle, Portland, the Bay Area, and also Los Angeles, I think this is a really great idea. And thank you for doing this because I think it's much needed.
Thank you. Well, it's something that we hope people respond to. And I'm hoping that we have the demand, go crazy, and that enough people get the training, as many people get the training as we can provide it for.
I'm happy that Julio proposed this, and I'm happy that Alberto was able to move on it so quickly. And let's see what kind of response we get from our members.
Yeah. Nora, if I can also add that to Julio Cesar's point, financially, if it's a barrier, We'll figure that out so that not be a reason why someone cannot attend the training, but also folks that have lost their jobs or are dealing with some financial hardship. NAHJ offers a 6-month up to a 12-month membership. So if again, hardship is an issue, then as a member, you would still qualify. So, you know, we're always trying to make sure that money is not a reason why someone doesn't tap into the network and the support services we bring together.
Yeah, the whole point of these trainings is there shouldn't be a barrier to safety. So especially if we're talking about physical safety and protests that can turn into riots, and riots can get violent, we're gonna do everything we can to make sure that there is no barrier. Eventually, hopefully that barrier will only be $25, but like Alberto said, if those $25 plus the membership fee are an issue, then we're happy to help those people out.
And actually in the chat, one of our members who here in Los Angeles pointed out that one of our members, Adolfo Guzman, was shot in the throat by a police projectile while covering a protest in Long Beach. So it's been a big issue on the West Coast.
Wow. Wow.
It's horrible. I encourage as many of our members who to sign up for this. I think it's going to be some good, valuable training. I'm not out in the field anymore, so I'm not going to take up a spot, but especially folks who are out on the field should really consider it. I think
Who's registered? Angelica has registered, so that's good.
Oh, there we go. One person has registered. Thank you. Again, this was just kind of a short and sweet, just trying to get the new board together, outlining a few things that we are going to take up in 2 weeks. Somebody brought up we tabled the discussion, the last board tabled the discussion on whether or not we're going to be virtual. That will be brought up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to try to use the 2 weeks between now and then to get a little bit better grounding on everything that's on the table for that, so that we can have a better discussion about it. Members, we will take that up in 2 weeks. We recognize we're on a timeline to make a decision on that. But I wanted to give everybody some time to digest everything. So go ahead. Who is that?
Nora, I want to make a motion for the board to go into executive session to discuss personal matters. If
I need
we
a
are
second.
done.
Are we already at that point?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. You know,
Okay.
and let me
I want to revisit the committees real quick.
Well, we talk about the committees, and I'm gonna send a proposal, but before I repeat my motion again, I want to be clear about this thing with the retreat, because I got people texting me and saying, are you guys are gonna meet? I think that what we said was that we are going to see what happens and have the option of either meeting in person if things are well, or virtually, right? Exactly. Okay. I am not expecting, I'm sorry to be the board bringing bad news. I'm not expecting things to get any better with COVID, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I don't expect things to get better, but if they do, and if we get vaccinated, and if we rent out a cabin in the middle of the mountains, then I would feel comfortable. But if it's like, let's hang out in downtown Miami in the middle of Miami high season, that would not. But that's, like you said, that's something we don't know yet. I think that's something that should be discussed, but I think probably it'll be virtual.
Nora, do
Okay.
you need me in the executive session meeting?
I don't think so. Who will go? Who will go? I think we're going to be okay.
Okay, great.
So I am repeating this again. I am calling, I'm making a motion for the board to go into executive session to discuss personal matters.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Arelis.
Any further discussion? All right, members, we will be back after our executive session to formally adjourn. I don't really know how long our discussion will take. If you want to rejoin us, or if you want to hang out, we will be
Go to
back.
the bar.
All right, I sent to everybody the phone number for the executive session. See you in a bit.
Here.
Cristy Fajardo,
Here.
Johnny Cordova,
Here.
Melissa Macaya. I don't think I heard her when we were on the call, so. Alvin Lopez still on assignment, Nanette Sosa's not here, Rafael's not here, Caldi Ortiz,
Presente.
Jennifer Marcial said she was leaving, Luis Joel. I see him, right?
Yes, he's here.
Oh, he's on mute.
He's
Okay.
on mute.
Arelis Hernandez, gone. McNally. By the way, I need to make sure. McNally or Mac? How do you want me to pronounce it? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly.
McNally.
McNally. Okay.
And there's a space between Mac and Nelly.
Okay, so McNally.
So
you're here.
Thank you for bringing that up because I've been meaning to ask Julio Cesar. Is it Julio or Julio Cesar? Is your preference the Julio Cesar?
As long as it's part of my name.
Okay. Because at first I thought it was Julio Cesar, one word, but then I heard other people calling you just Julio. So I was like, yeah, I wanted to clarify.
It's your preference. If you want Julio, if you want Julio Cesar, if you want Cesar. Like McNally just calls me Cesar. That's cool.
Oh gosh. Is Hugo Balta back?
I don't think he's here.
Oh wait, you know what? I'm sorry, I skipped. Okay, sorry. Jessica Retis, did she say she was leaving? I think she was one of the ones that was leaving.
I see her picture there, but she's not.
Maybe she just never left because I didn't either. I was just on mute.
Hey.
Okay, so Julio Cesar Chavez, and then Hugo Balta. I don't think he came back, did he? And and the guests that I see are Yunuen, BA, Leslie. Yes, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So there were no actionable items that came out of our executive session on personnel and legal matters. At this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Kelly seconds.
All right, all those in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Aye. Bye, guys. Thank
Good
you.
luck watching the debate.
Yeah.
Please remember to share
Get a glass of wine.
Hostile environment training tweet.
Hi, everyone.
Bye, everyone.